那这是一个非常受到大家欢迎的一个修心的法门的内容。
Right. Yeah. So this is the Mahayana teaching. Mahayana teaching, right? Or the teachings of the greater vehicle. So because this is Mahayana teachings, so it talks. Because this is a Mahayana teaching, so it contains the teaching of the Mahayana. That means it contains the teaching of the Mahayana. The one of the main emphasis and one of the main focus of the Mahayana teaching is truly cultivate the altruistic mind, or what is called as bodhicitta mind. Bodhicitta mind, right? So therefore, when it comes to training the Mahayana teaching, when it comes to training the bodhicitta or the mind of enlightenment, right? Mind of enlightenment. One need to go through the means and the method to cultivate that bodhicitta, right? So therefore, the method to cultivate the mind of enlightenment and bodhicitta is taught here. This is the main. Right. So this is one of the main, purpose of this teaching.
这也是我们这个教法修行记忆的内容的主要的一个目的。
And therefore, there are generally speaking, there are two different ways for cultivating the mind of enlightenment. There are two different ways, how we can cultivate the mind of enlightenment, how we can cultivate the altruistic mind or bodhicitta mind, right? So, one way, the method for cultivating the bodhicitta, one way is training in the sevenfold cause and effect percepts and instruction. Sevenfold cause and effect instruction. Right? And another one is another way of doing, the method is what is called as exchanging self and others, equalizing and exchanging self and others. Right? So this teaching especially talks about this method, right? The method for exchanging and equalizing self and others. Exchanging between self and others and equalizing self and others. So this is one of the main, one of the main method that we need to train in cultivating, right? The altruistic mind. So therefore, here, when we talk about how we can equalize, how we can equalize self and others, how can we go about training in exchanging self and others? How can we go about exchanging self and others? So in this regard, there comes a three different lineage. When we talk about how we can exchange self and others, there comes a three different lineages. So, right now here the first lineage, is the lineage of what is called as Master Dharma Rakshita lineage. Dharma Rakshita lineage. Because Dharma Rakshita Dhamma Rashida composed two very popular texts. Yeah, right. Dhamma Rashida composed two very popular texts, which is later come to known as what is called as
我们的达玛的西达大师呢，他又写了2部
the Wheel of Sharp Points. So this is also one of very popular mind training text, Wheel of Sharp Points.
其中
And another one is what is called as
修心剑论。
neutralizing the peacock's poison.
那第二个呢
There's another one. So these two are pretty popular, even within the mind training text, because it talks about exchanging self and others according to his own lineage system, right? And then
这2部著作呢，就一个称为修心剑论，一个称为刻度。
So this Dharma Rakshita, Master Dharma Rakshita, he was the student of Lama Silingba, Master Silingba. Master Silingba was the teacher of Adisha, Master Adisha. So Dharma Rakshita was the student of Lama Silingba, Master Silingba, right? And he was also the teacher of Master Adisha, the student of Silingba, right? And the teacher of Adisha, Master
所以呢，
Adisha.
金州大师呢也是我们阿底峡大师的老师，但同时呢，我们的
Dhamma Rakshita,
达玛达西达大师呢也是金州大师的。
he was a great bodhisattva.
达玛达西达大师他的中文名字呢，再找一下，他叫法。
One time in his,
达玛达西达大师呢，他是一个伟大的菩萨。
in the area where he lives, he saw one guy. He was, the guy was, going through some, physical illness. Physical illness. And later on, the doctor also gave up all the hope of him getting recovery. The guy.
故事是有一个人呢，他生了重病。
So he was being advised that he need to eat the human flesh.
那这位病人呢，
He need to
被告知说他需要
use the human flesh,
生人的
so that he would get recovered.
他才能够恢复。
So there was nobody ready to, give human flesh. There was nobody ready to, give away their own flesh.
这个时候呢，没有任何人愿意，把生人的肉，把自己的肉割下来供养给他。
So it was this Master Dhamma Rakshita.
而我们这里呢，
He developed a great compassion for the guy.
达玛达西达
Who really developed a tremendous amount of compassion for this guy.
非常大
And
的
then,
悲心。
what he did is he, from his own leg,
然后他自己从自己的身上
he cut down his own flesh,
割下了他自己
flesh
的
from
肉，
his leg, and then gave to this guy.
布施给了这位
So
病人。
the guy, so he used that flesh, to eat.
然后他用这，然后他
And then
他的，然后这位病人呢吃了法。
Dhamma Rakshita, this master told him, do you feel better?
然后法护
The
大
guy
师
said,
问他说：“你现在
Oh,
感觉
I
怎
feel
么样
much better.
然后这位病人说：“我已经感
Then
觉
Dhamma
到
Rakshita, Master Dhamma Rakshita said, even if
然后法护大师
if
说
my help were to benefit others,
我的
I would even give up my life,
如
ready
果
to
我可
give
以
up my
帮
life.
助他人，哪怕不是我自己的生命，我都不会介意。
So he have such a,
这个
kind
故
of,
事显示说，
full of, love and
法护大
compassion,
师
this,
他的内心里
Master
面
Dhamma
充满
Rakshita.
慈悲心。
But then what he did say is, when on that day, on the day he gave up his flesh, right? Now then when he tried to in the night time, when he tried to sleep, he said he was unable to sleep because of the pain.
当法护大师他给予了
He was not able to
布
sleep
施了
the
他的
whole
肉之
night
后呢，
because of the
他没
terrible
有办
pain.
法睡觉，因为他割掉自己的肉之后呢，身体非常的疼痛。
Right. And then around the dawn time, around when the dawn time comes, when it is about to become dawn, then he had a dream. This master has a,
那在
Dhamma
黎
Rakshita
明
has a
时分
dream.
的时候呢，法
In
护
the
大师
dream,
他做了一个梦，
a white person is coming, a white being is coming, a white person is coming,
在
and
他的
this
梦中呢，
this
一位
white
身像
person
白色的这样的一位菩萨
spit,
出现在他的
spit the
梦
salvia
中。
on the area where he was feel pain,
那这位
where he was feeling
身像
pain.
具有白色的这位菩萨呢，
And then,
他对着他的
the,
伤口的地方呢，
this
做了
white
几口
person,
唾沫
how to massage the salvia around the area,
并
right?
且呢，并且呢，
Massaging gently around the area with the salvia.
并且很轻柔的，为他的这个伤口
And with this,
做按摩。
he was dreaming, right? So Mother Rashid, that by doing such thing, he feel recovered, completely recovered.
那通过这样子呢，他第二天梦中醒来之后呢，他的
So
这个疼痛完全
in that
完
very
全康复
in
了。
that moment, he came to wake up. As he came to wake up, there is no sore, there is no wound left.
在当他醒来之后呢，他的所有的这些伤口呢都已经复合了。
So later he admitted that that white being is the white being was the manifestation of Avalokiteshvara.
然后他说，在这位梦中的这位身像白色的
Avalokiteshvara.
他认为是观世音菩
And
萨的化身。
What really happened is, because of his such a tremendous amount of compassion and love, he purified many of the negativities, and he also accumulated a great deal of merit. Because of this, even although this Dharma Rakshita, his view is that of the Vavishika,
虽然
Vavishika,
说法
the
护
lower
大师
school,
他的中
the
见呢
lower school.
是
But then,
是有部中的中见，
amazingly and wonderfully, just as he developed a great deal of compassion and love and compassion, because of this kind of
但是因为他
the
内心
development of love and
充满了
compassion,
慈悲
he
心，
was able to purify, and he was able to create a tremendous amount of merit,
他
which
净化了他的业障，
which
积累
then
了无量无边的功德。
make him that some of the the many wonderful texts by Nagarjuna, right, about the emptiness, many great the texts on emptiness composed by Nagarjuna, right? For example, like 6 collections,
他对
the collection of 6
龙树菩萨的正理
the collection of
6
6 reasons, right? 6 reason text, for example, like Precious Garland, the root wisdom.
慢论，中观根本论。
So later on, even just by seeing and even some without seeing, he come to understand all these texts, the meaning of all these texts, and actually cultivated the wisdom,
在内心里面
the experience. He gained the
真实的
experience,
真实的理解，
the emptiness according to the Arya Nagarjuna
因
system,
此他获得了基于龙树菩萨
right? So
体系的
this cultivation of the experience of the wisdom all come about because of he is able to purify the negativity
他
and
他所
to
有的
create
这个
tremendous amount of
空性的
merit
理解呢，
by the cultivation of love
是基于
and compassion,
他所积累，通过菩提心所积累的资粮和功德。
right? So this is the Dharma Rakshita,
这个就是我们
how he practiced, right?
法护论师，他是大
A
师，
brief,
他是如何的修习的。
Dharma Rakshita. So this is one. The first one is
修习大
about
的金刚
the
成就的，
the lineage of the Dharma Rakshita, right? And the second one, the second lineage is what is called as Kusali lineage.
我们第二个传承呢，是我们所讲到叫菩萨理传承。
Kusali, then he also composed one beautiful, text, which is the text is known as Melodious Vajra Song.
古沙里大师呢，他也写了一部论著，叫
This
做
Kusala is
金
called,
刚道歌
the reason why, Kusala is called as Kusala is because
为什么
Kusala
我
means
们称它叫做古萨里
love, love.
因为古
So
萨里的
all
意思
the time,
就是慈爱。
all the time, he, he always, stay in a solitude, some area, some solitude area where he meditated all the time on love,
因为
love.
他
So therefore he got the name of Kusali.
因为他一直在闭关，在偏远的地区呢闭关修
As
习
we,
慈爱。
in Tibetan we
这
call
样的一个名字叫做
Master
古萨里。
Chambe Nejo meant the yogi of love,
在
the
藏
yogi
文
of
里面
love.
他的名字叫长边
Right?
内酒，
Chambe Nejo, Chamba means love.
意思是慈
Nenjo
慈
means
悲的一
yogi,
些事
the。yogi of love, because he meditated all the time on love. So he
因为
was
因为
called
他一直在修习
Chambe Nejo.
慈悲心，因此呢，他的名字叫做慈于显示，慈于显示。
So the second one, also the second lineage is Kusali lineage, right? Second lineage, Kusali lineage.
我
Kusali
们讲到的
was
第二个
also
传承呢，
Kusali also had the direct vision of, Buddha Matriya, because he all the time meditated on love, and then he also composed the, the mind training, equalizing and exchanging self and others mind training,
因为
which
他
is later
一直以
called
来
as,
在修习自他相换的。
melodious Vajra song, right? Melodious Vajra song. So this Vajra song, you will find, how he,
他所写的著
kind
作
of,
呢叫做
he
金
he
刚道。
acknowledged having, cultivated the mind of bodhicitta,
那在他的这部著
some
作里面
experiential song, some
他自
experiential
己的
song.
经验的一个道歌，那他显示出来，他有写到说他自己
And
真实的升起了菩提心。
Kusali was also the teacher of Lama Atisha, Master Atisha.
那我们的古萨里大师呢，他同时也是尊者拉玛安迪香的老师。
Then we have the third lineage is called Lama Selingpa, no? Master Selingpa.
我们有第三个
Selingpa
传
means
承，
the continent of the gold, the land of gold.
也就是
Selingpa
的
means
意思就是
Selingpa,
金子的地
the
方。
land of the
所以我
gold.
们中文呢就把它翻译成叫做荆州，金子的金四大洲的洲，荆州大师。
So Selingpa, also the great master, So Master Adisha is one of the principal, teacher.
那我们斯伦巴大师呢，他也是拉玛安迪香尊
那么
一个最主要的上师之一。
The Master Adisha has 150 masters, spiritual teacher. But out of all these 150 spiritual teacher,
100多位
Master
大师
Adisha is the most kind to him. Master Selingpa is the most kind to
荆
him.
州大师对于他来说，
Master Selingpa is the most kind teacher to him.
最具恩德的大师。
So Selingpa, as we know, is a land of the gold because if you try to check, where this land of gold,
那我们说斯伦巴大师呢是荆州大
we
师，
see that
说
this,
荆州大师他在哪个地方？
we see that this land of gold is in Indonesia.
我们说这个
Indonesia
荆州大师他真实所在
The
的地
place
方
is
呢
in
就是我
Indonesia.
们现在的印度尼西亚。
So Master Selingpa was he was the prince. He was the prince, right? He was the prince of the prince because he was the son of the one king in the land of gold in this continent, right? So his father, he traveled to India where he met, where he received so many teachings,
荆州大师呢，
so
他
many
是
teachings.
当地的一个王子。
So later on, Master Selingpa's father, he returned back and transmitted many of the teachings, Buddha's teachings on, some
前
Master
往印度去接受了很多的教
Adisha.
导，
Sorry, Master Selingpa. So
所以他后来才有能够教到荆州阿底峡大师。
right. So then, Master Selingpa, by slowly he transmitted all the teachings to Master Adisha. because
呢，金
how
州大师慢慢的把他所有的教法都传给了我们的阿底峡尊者。
how Master Adisha met with the Master Selingpa
阿底
was
峡尊者他是如何和我们的
so the
金
Master
州大师
Adisha
所相见的呢？
at that time he was already acclaimed scholar. He was a scholar, Master Adisha already because he was on those time already a great scholar. So one time,
阿底峡尊者在那个时候
while
他已经
he
是一个
was
非常有名
circumambulating
的
the
大师。
Buddha stupa, that
那有
Buddha
一次呢
stupa,，
当他在绕佛的时候，他在绕塔的时候，
two divine beings, two divine
Yang
ladies,
有
divine ladies.
有两位
So
菩萨，
two divine ladies or celestial,
Yeah, the
goddesses, they were discussing
他们
uh,
在那里讨论
what is the cheapest
Oh.
way of achieving enlightenment in the single lifetime, right?
是什
So
么
one
样
is saying,
什么样
there's
子
no
的
doubt
方法能
Bodhisattva.
够在一辈子一生当
So
中
Chobuche was so happy.
提醒成就
Master
果报
Adisha was so happy to hear this.
阿底峡尊者听到他们的对谈，心里面非常的开心。
So at another time, he also, hear the same thing, about the same the best way, to achieve the enlightenment
然后另外一
in a
次呢，
single lifetime.
他也听到有另外一次，他又听到两位菩萨在那里讨论。
Then he searched, So if that is the case, now who has the lineage? Who has, the teaching lineage
他内心里面
which
想
led
说
to enlightenment?
我要去寻找说
So as
谁
he
拥
found,
有能够
he come to learn,
迅速
he
成
come
就
to
果
learn
报的
that
方法。
Master Selingpa has all the
他通
instructions,
过一些寻找，
very,
搜索
many,
呢
many, great instructions.
听到说荆州大师他拥有这样的一些传承，
So then Master Master Adisha decided to travel to Indonesia to see
因此荆
the
州大
Lama
师
Selingpa,
阿底峡
Master
尊者呢
Selingpa.
就决定说他想要去印度尼西亚去接近去接触荆州大师。
Now, then Master Adisha traveled to Indonesia through ocean, which took him 1 year,
阿底峡
3
尊者
months.
他前往印度尼西亚，他需要坐船，
1 year, 3 months.
一共坐了多长时间呢？1年零3个月的时间。
1 year, 3 year, all through the, going through the ocean.
这1年当中呢，一直是在船上，
Right
在
now,
海洋上。
These days, no matter how the boat,
现在的时代，
how bad is the boat,
无论
it's still, very good,
我们的
But now,
船有多么的糟
when
糕
we，are talking about the
跟那个
boat,
时候相比，
boat,
都是很好的。
the boat of the 12th century.
我们
12th century, how can we
阿底峡
imagine
尊者
the boat?
是12世纪的人，
Maybe some, bringing together some, wooden, right, and then tight. So like this. So Choji, Master Adisha used this kind of boat
那
to
个时候
travel, which
阿
took
底峡
him.
尊者用的都是很糟糕的船，跟我们现在来比，
And you see, you travel by day and night
日日夜夜的这样子，
in such a bad condition boat.
在这样的一个糟糕的，
And then there is a
Okay.
danger of, once the wave come
当
and there's some
波浪起来的时候，
very ferocious animals in the sea.
或者呢，海洋当中的那些
So-
大的鱼等等的出现的时候，
Almost a few dangers come,
所以
while he
阿
was
底峡
standing.
尊者
But then due to the
这个过程当中呢，也
maybe
经历了很多的
firm,
惊险，
belief in
That's
three
it.
jewels,
通过他对
they
三宝
protected
真
him.
实的信心，三宝
So this is how-
加持和庇护，
He traveled to, Indonesia and then met with the
然后
Master
他来到
Selingpa.
了印度尼西亚，见
So
到
then
荆州
Master
大师
Selingpa was so happy to see,
荆州
such
大
a
师
person who
他的
really
心里
risked
非
his
常的
life,
欢喜，见到了他。
traveling all the
因为
way.
什么？因为这样的一位真实的修
So
行，
Master Selingpa was happy, and then he
冒着
said,
生命的危险来向他求法。
yeah, you can, if you, if you have the patience to, stay for at least, 10 years, I'm happy to give all the teaching instruction. So then in total, Master Adisha spent 12 years studying all the mind training instructions. Many of the teachings, not only mind training, many teachings,
一共花了12年的时间，
many teachings from him.
不仅仅呢是我们
Then
修行方面的内容，
then
还有很多
Master Adisha was so well equipped with all the instructions, many instructions,
那么阿底峡尊者呢，
which all he received from
获得
Master Seningba.
金州大师所有的传承。
So then, when Master Adisha was about to depart, to his,
当阿底峡尊者
but so
准备要离开，
Master Seningba has a one Buddha statue, small Buddha statue.
那
So
金州大师
Master
呢，
Seningba
很小
gave this Buddha statue to Lama Seningba. Master Seningba gave this Buddha statue to Lama Adisha.
啊，这一尊小的佛像
Right.
赐予了金州大师，
And
赐予
he
阿底峡尊者。
and he almost gave the name, the Lord of all the Buddha's teaching, the Master of all the Buddha's teaching, and the Lord of all the Buddha's teaching.
然后呢，他也赐予了阿底峡尊者一个名号，就是
So
嗯，
you
佛
see,
陀所有
so
教
now
法持有者。
Master Adisha is the being who has all many a great deal of many great lineages. Master Adisha has the when it comes to equalizing and exchanging self and others instruction, Master Adisha has the lineage from the Dhammarakshita, and the lineage from the Master Kusali,
讲
and
到
the lineage from the Master Seningba.
法相
So
关的
all
这个
these
法
three
门
lineages
我们
there is there.
阿底峡尊者他拥有从法
When
布
it
大师、
when
金州大
it
师
comes to the practice of sevenfold cause and
所
effect
所有
instruction,
三
Master
个传承
Seningba,
当中，所
Master
有的
Adisha
传
has
承。
this instruction, right? When it comes to the profound in
当
the
我们从
emptiness in the lineage, Master
从
Sening,
空性的
Master Adisha is
中间来
also the
说，
lineage holder.
阿底峡
So
尊
Master
者
Adisha
也是我们传承的持有者。
right, it's the only being who really has many
就阿底峡尊者
transformations,
是
transmissions.
是唯一的一位拥有所有的传承的大师。
Then many of the transmissions that Master Adisha has, he transmitted this to his topmost
阿底峡尊者呢，
disciple,
把他所有的这些传承
right? Who was, although Master Adisha
他
has many great,
阿底
many
峡尊者
great,
他有很多的弟子
students, right? Disciples like Losava Rinchen Sambo,
比如说我们的忍谦上博义师，
and then Thalama Ishiyu, Thalama Ishiyu, and then many others, right?
还有他
But
妈
of-
一西也还有很多的其他的大师。
So Thalama Ishiyu was the one who invited Master Adisha to Tibet and asked him to give the teaching, which is so practical, easy to understand by the majority of the
是
people.
由他来引起
Therefore, Master
阿底
Adisha
峡尊者到
composed
西藏来，
the lamp for the path to enlightenment.
因为他的引起呢，阿底峡尊者他写了《菩提道灯论》，
Because he didn't, Thalama Ishiyu didn't say, "Oh, please give us the teaching which is so profound, so
他
advanced."
们地区他并没有说啊给予我们最高深的教法，
Thalama Ishiyu just simply say something which is so practical that
他只是
everybody
说
can,
请您给予我们
practice.
能够
Anybody
修
can
行，每
practice.
一个人都能够修行的，
It's so accessible, to the public.
这样的一个法门。
Right. So this is wonderful, right? Anyway, so then Master Adisha has all different kinds of lineages, many lineage, teaching lineages. So he transmitted this to his topmost student. Who was the topmost student was Domdamba. Domdamba, right? Domdamba was
那么阿底峡尊者他最主要的弟子呢，就是我们的中正巴大师。
Domdamba was a lay person, And
中顿巴大师
the green Tara
他
told
是一位在家
to
的
remain
居
as a
士，
lay person so that he can benefit more beings.
为什么呢？
对
因为绿度母菩萨他给予了中顿巴大师
对
教导说，如果你
I don't
在
go
家人的
I
身
don't
份
want
呢，
this detail.
对佛法和
So
在家人
otherwise, you know, it-
中
So-
顿巴大师他是受持八戒的
Master
居士，
Master Adisha transmitted all his, knowledge, both, the sutra knowledge and tantra knowledge.
因
All
此
this
阿底
knowledge,
峡大师把他所有的经部以及序部的
Adi
所
was-
有的教法的核
as
心
we
的
know,
内容
Adisha was a great scholar. Not only is a scholar, he's,
So-
very profound practitioner.
传给了
He
他的
he
弟子
who knows,
阿底峡尊者。他不仅仅是一位学者，他也是一位非常有修正的行者。
how, how good is the Adisha's practice is, right? How good is Adisha's practice?
我们说阿底峡
How
尊
good
者
was
他的
Adisha's
他的
practice?
正量是有多高呢？
To this, Dumdumba says, say,
关于这方面的内容，关于
so
这
this
方
is
面
very
的
important.
关于阿底峡尊者的修正呢，中顿巴大师呢，
Dumdumba say, my Lama
他说我的上师
My Lama knows how to practice Buddha's teaching in its entirety.
他说我的上师知道如何来修行佛
The
法，
way
完整的方法
the
来
way
修
he
行佛法
understands the Buddha's teaching, the way he practiced the Buddha's teaching is such that he bring, he carry all the Buddha's teaching, into the four sides of the practice. Four sides,
他把
four sides of the instruction.
他修行佛法呢，
I will
他如何修
later
行
on
佛
I
法
will
呢？他
explain
具
this.
备
This is
所
very
有佛法
important,
的四边，
very
四
very
边
important.
四个边佛法的四个边界，完完整整的。
Yeah, four sides of the spiritual practice. All the Buddha's teaching transform into the four sides of the spiritual practice. I will
把
explain
所
later.
有佛法的教导，
So that means he truly know, how to practice all the Buddha's teaching.
这个显示什么？显示了阿底峡尊者他知道如何来修行佛法的教导，佛陀的教导。
Hinayana path, Mahayana path, Tantrayana path without any conflict.
小乘
My master,
跟本乘以及大乘
he say, my master know this.
都没有任何的
The
相违逆的地方。
The spiritual training of the person was small scope, medium scope, higher scope, and tantra. All this he know
我们
how to
下
practice
士道、
without
中士道
conflict.
到上士的以及密乘的所有的修行的方法。
So, but I
完
will,
完全
I
全的
won't
了
spend
解。
much time on this. I will talk more about this. It's very important.
以后呢，我们会是不会再详细
Right now, yeah.
今天呢就不详细讲
So-
这方面的内容。
Master Adisha transmitted all the knowledge to Domdamba. Domdamba, as we know, Domdamba also one of the emanation of Avalokiteshvara, right? Avalokiteshvara remain always, very humble, very simple, always, although he himself, gone
阿底峡尊者呢自己是
Really?
非常的谦恭的人，
really cross beyond also know how to practice Buddha's teaching in its entirety. But when people come to see him and ask him to give the teaching, he say, I don't know.
但
I don't know anything.
阿底峡尊者呢，他对佛法是有完整的
So the
了解
main purpose is
但
to,
是呢，当其他人有时候来向他
to
问
reduce
到
his
时候
arrogant
他
sense
说
of
我
arrogance,
不知
right?
道，没有听说
So
过。
truly putting into practice, right?
所
So
以
then,
主要的目的呢，是为了
right,
降低
Domdamba,
他的他的
Master
傲慢性
Domdamba,
就把佛法放到修行当中。
Tara also predicted that when you visit Tibet, you will get an exceptional student.
种种
So this is referring to Domdamba.
的弟子。
Domdamba was the exceptional
当
student.
阿底峡尊者在印度的时候，绿度母呢给他教导说，如果你去西藏，你会碰到最完美的弟子。那这位预言的弟子呢，就是我们中的马大师。
And then Domdamba has now although he has many disciples, but of all this, he has three main disciples.
中的马大师 有很多的弟子，但是呢，他有3位最主要的弟子，
波多瓦、
其实博多瓦大师、
坚阿瓦、
千高瓦、
Master 坚阿瓦、普中瓦。
以及普中瓦，
These three
这样3
beings,
位弟子是中德玛大师的弟子。
Now here in this regard, the 7-point mind training, right? This 7-point mind training,
所以讲到了这位修心七义论，
as I discussed, the selling past lineage,
是我
the
们金
selling
州大
past
师的传承下，
exchanging self and others and equalizing self and others. Now 7-point mind training is according to the selling past lineage.
我们说的修心七义的这个传承
This lineage.
是基于我们金州大师的传承。
Right. So, through selling bar to Master Adisha to Master Adisha to Domdamba, right? Then Domdamba to Master Podova. All the three, right? 3 brothers. We call 3 Kadamba brothers.
叫阿底峡大师，
Of these 3 Kadamba brothers, the main one is Master Podova.
也就是我们这3位大师。
So Podova transmitted this to.
其中一位呢，就是我们的
Again,
博
Podova
多瓦大师。
has 2 main students.
而
One
博多
is
瓦大师呢，
Langri Thongpa Daji,
他也有
Langri
2位
Thongpa,
弟子，
Langri Thongpa Daji Sengge,
就是
Langri
南岳
Thongpa,
唐巴大师。
who is the author of the
我们已经学习过
transformation, mind
他的修
transformation,
心
right?
发送的这个内容，就是我们南岳唐巴大师写的。
Langri Thongpa Daji Sengge, and one is Sharava.
另外一个呢
Master
是
Sharava.
谢热瓦，
So then Podova transmitted this 7-point to Sharava.
博多瓦大师呢传给了修心器呢，传给了谢热瓦大师。这就是我们的
Sharava was, really, when we try to see the lineage prayer in the Lamrim lineage prayer, the stages of the path to enlightenment, the stages of the path to enlightenment lineage prayer, we see Sharava, the matchless and intelligent.
我们上面写到说，谢热瓦大师是是智慧无上的，智慧无可比拟的大师。
How well is, how profound is his intelligence is. He memorized the 100 volumes.
我
For
们
the
说他的
all
智
the
慧
teaching.
为什么说他智慧超群呢？因为他能够背诵佛
In
陀
a-
教导100部
in a
100
in
个
a
方
Tibetan canon, Buddha's teaching 100 volumes, right? 100 volumes and 200 treatises, composed by Indian masters.
200多部论，
Sharava memorized all these
他
100
都能够
volumes,
背诵下来。
right? So therefore, he is called matchless and intelligent.
他被称为智慧无可比拟的大师。
Now, when we talk about Buddha's teaching, when we lucid right now, it's not something like this, almost as thick as like
我
this,
们说一卷呢
100 volumes,
一
all
卷呢
this.
并不是一两页子，是很厚的一叠这样子。
Then Sharava transmitted this 7-point mind training to who?
然后我们的谢热瓦大师呢
Master Sharava transmitted this teaching to
把这个修行七义的内容
Chekawa.
传导。
Now, who is the author of this
切克瓦
text?
大师。
Master Chekawa.
切克瓦大师呢，就是我们这位修行七义论的根本性的。
I already told the story about this, how he come to get this
在我们之
teaching,
前的
right?
课的时候呢，
Oh,
我已经
Chekawa
讲
come into
过切克瓦大师他是如何的来祈祷、来请求关于修行方面的内容的故事。
Chekawa means usually the name by the Chekawa means
切
cemetery,
克瓦大师呢，他
cemetery,
的
right?
名字
So
意思其
because
实就是墓地的
this
意思。
he got this name, Chekawa got this name Cheka because he
Cheka
used
墓
to
地的意思。
go to the cemetery
为什么
to
他有这
meditate
个名字
on the
呢？
mind training
因
transformation,
为他经常
mind
往
training,
墓地
meditate on the mind
去
training.
禅修，
So therefore he was
禅
called
修修
Chekawa
修行方面的内容。因此呢，
Master Chekawa.
大家就给了他一个名字，叫做切克瓦，也就是墓地的修行者。
I don't know if people remember the story, I told before.
那个意思就是说，上次之前我们已经讲过关于切克瓦大师的故事，不知道大家还记不记得 ？I think it can refresh people's mind.
I see. Yeah. So, Jacob, he one day paid a visit to one of his friend, Chakshiba, Master Chakshiba. Master Chakshiba, he saw Jacob was in his room. Uh, he saw a particular, a statement.
那他
Give
他尊者呢，
give the victory
介绍
to
我大师
others, except defeat upon
在阅
yourself.
读的时候，他读到说，
Oh, he's
将自己的给
这个我
将胜利奉献给
that
他
really
人，
seems
将失
interesting.
败我取受，这样的一
This
个
teaching really
这
seems
样的
interesting
一个
and
教导，
so amazing.
他内心里面
That's so
升
cool.
起了很大的触动，他觉得这
So
个
he
教授
wondered,
非常
who
的
has
深
this
广，
instruction,
在想
give victory to others,
谁
except
拥
defeat
有这样
upon
子的
yourself.
人，能够把所有的胜利，
So he was
所有
trying
的
to
胜
search,
利都奉献给他人，所有的失败我来取受，这样子的
Then
一个教导，
he was told,
因此他去寻找。
Master Langri Thamba Doji Singh,
然后有人告诉他们，他说狼人他妈大师，
the
狼
great
人
Master
他妈国
Thamba,
际圣别，
who is the author of
他是关于
8.8
修心八颂的
verses of mind training.
修心八颂的内容的作者。
So he traveled and then searched, but later told, Langri Thamba already passed away.
他去寻找，然
He
后
was taught.
然后发现说狼人他妈当时那个时候他已经圆寂了。
Then, whom that said, but who must have, his lineage? Who was holding his lineage, So he searched and later,
然后他心想这样
he was told
太遗憾了。然
it
后
was the
那还有谁
it
拥
was
有这个教导呢？
the master by the name of
他
Sharava.
去寻找，然后听说谢尔瓦大师他拥有这样的一个教授。
So Master Sharava was, he was giving, teaching.
那当时谢尔瓦
Before he come to
在
contact with
大庭
Sharava,
广众下
he was
给
just
教导
trying to test.
教授
Sharava was just testing, if he has any kind of this kind of particular
一开始的
instruction.
时候呢，
Because he
谢尔瓦
used
大师
to,
因为他并不熟悉谢尔瓦大师，
Sharava secretly attend the teaching,
他
just
想来
seeing,
他想来
if he
观
has
察一
this,
下这位大师说是不是真的如大家所说的，他拥有这方面的，
although he attended
教导
many
内容。
teachings,
因此他秘密的
he attended many
很
teachings
低
of the
调
Sharava.
参加了
Sharava
谢尔瓦大师的
not
很多的
not in a
公开的
single
教导
teaching repeated this word.
但是没有
Give
任何一
victory to
个
others,
他
except
公开的
depend upon
讲
yourself.
讲法的地方呢，他有讲到过
Jacob
关
didn't
于
hear
这方面
any
的内
single
容，
word about this. No,
连一
he
个字都
wondered.
没有听到。
Jacob wondered,
因此他内心里
how
面想
come,
说，
he must have not this lineage,
这位大
this
师怎么
instruction.
从来都没有讲过这方面的
He
内容，
must not be the lineage master.
这方面的传承，
He must have not
一
this
定不是这
instruction.
位传承的大师。
Then one day, he actually, planned to meet, Sharava, Master Sharava.
然
Right?
后呢，
So
有一天
he went and, checked with the Sharava, and then Sharava was, Sharava was
他计划说
circumambulating.
要去
He was going circumambulating around the temple.
谢尔瓦大师呢谈一下，你
He requested, he requested Master Sharava to sit down,
然后呢，他出现的时候，
he took out
他把
his
自己的
upper robe
他
and
把
then
自己
tried
的
to
袈裟铺在地上，
place it on the ground and
铺在地
request him
上
to
说
see it.
大师，请您坐下来，我想有问题
I have
向
a
您
very
请问一下。
I have something important to tell you. I have something very important to ask you. What do you mean? If you have question, I have already done it through my throne.
然
Right?
后谢尔瓦大师说，你还有什么问题的？该讲的
I have
我已
already
经讲过了。
clarified, already to dispel all the doubt right from my throne when I was
在
giving
在我
teaching.
在法座上的时候，该讲的都已经讲了，没有什么可以讲的了。
That's right. Then
然后谢尔瓦大师说，是的，
Sharava,
确实是如此。
Jacob told him, that's very right. But then I have, something separate thing to ask you.
我有跟你讲课的内容不相关的问题。
So then, what's that? Then
然
he
后谢
said,
尔瓦大师说，
I
那是
heard the statement like
Jacob
the
answered,
teaching, give victory to
我
others,
听说
except defend
你
upon
拥有
yourself.
关于将胜利，奉献于他人，将失败我取受这样子的教导。
So I heard this story, this statement. How authentic is the source?
然后他向大师说，
How authentic is the
他向
source?
大师问说，
And
这句
how
话
reliable is
这
this
句话
teaching?
它 它的根源
How reliable is
可
this
靠的
teaching?
吗？是佛的教导吗？是可以依靠的。
Then
是信
Sharava,
赖的
you
吗
know, Sharava cited many of the, you know, Buddha's, you know, teaching, Sudra teachings,
然
right?
后舍利瓦
Not
大
only
师
that,
呢，
he also
就
cited the,
舍利
you
瓦
know,
大师他引用了很多我们
This
大乘的经论，
practice, except if
I
you
证
give Victoria others,
证明
from many other, some
为
other
一
like
切
Guide
的
to the
失
Buddhist
败
way
都
of
是
life,
说
and
一切
also
的
through
胜
the
利奉献
Master
给他人，
Nagarjuna's teaching.
这是非常是佛陀的权威的教导，也在我们龙树大师的教导当中出现。
And then, yeah, this is the source, authentic source, you know, if you need the authentic source.
他拥有非常权威的根据。
But how reliable it is? Then Sharava told him, if you do not work for the
然
enlightenment,
后切格瓦大师
that is a
就
different
是问
matter.
说这是可靠的教导吗？
However,
然后切
if
格
you
瓦大师
really,
说，
you
如果
know,
你只是
work on
你
to
只
achieve enlightenment,
如果
if
你
you
只
really,
是
you know,
好
wish
奇感兴
for
趣，
the
那
enlightenment,
就没什么好说的。
this instruction
但
is
是如果说
indispensable.
你是真的想为
You
了
need to go
最
through
终
this,
想成
you
就
know,
佛果的
instruction.
话，
You need to
那
practice
这一
this
个教导
instruction,
是必须的，是不可避免的。
without
是
which
不可
there's
或
no
缺的。
enlightenment. You won't
如果
achieve
没有
enlightenment.
这方面的教导修行，那是没有办法成就佛
If
果。
that is the case, then please give me this
然后
instruction.
切格瓦大师祈求说，如果是这样子的话，请您给予我这方面的教授。
If you take the patience to stay with me for at least
然后切格瓦大师说，
for 10 years,
如果你想学的话，你至少要待在我身边10年。
then yeah, you will have it.
然后
You are going to have
然
it.
后你就会获得这方面的内容。
So in total,
然后总共来说，
Master Jagawa spent 12
切格瓦
years
大师
with the, you
在
know,
切格瓦大师身边
Sharava,
待了12年。
where Sharava gave all his instruction, mind training instruction
大师呢，
to Master
所
Jagawa.
有关于修行方面的内容都传授给了切格瓦大师。
Jagawa became a very good practitioner.
切格瓦大
Very,
师
you know, he really gained the confidence in the mind training instruction. Really gained the, you know,
有这样的
deep
修行
confidence.
者，他的内心里面对于修心法门升起了真实的信仰。
really deep confidence. And at one point, you know, around those time, you know, the leprosy was popular. So leprosy disease was broke out.
Leprosy 那个时候一种瘟疫的疾病，应该是蛮
The doctors, even the doctors failed to cure, you know.
有爆发。那个时候
So he began to give 1 or 2 instructions, you know, to few people.
医生都没有办法。
This instruction, you know,
真的是
giving and taking
切格瓦大
instructions
师
to few
他
people.
给予了几位
All these few
几
people,
个人关于
it
自他相换的
it seems
修
this
行
instruction
取舍
working
的
on
观
them
赏的方法。
because they get recovered
那
by
这些人
practicing
呢，
this
虽然说
giving and taking
但
instruction.
他们的病呢，只是
They seem to have recovered.
就好了。
So later on, you know, one people spread the rumors, oh,
That-
this
that
really
开始
powerful.
大家就开始说流传这样的一个
Master Cheka was,
传言。
the house was
So,
almost become a hospital.
切格瓦大师
People
他
flock
拥有治病的这
Come
个方
to
法，
receive the instruction.
然后大家呢都来到了切格瓦大师，就像医院一样的来到
Right.
切格瓦大师的。
Many people get recovered. Later, this teaching is called
很多人呢，因为这
the
样子的
teaching of the
修行
leprosy.
他的病呢也好转了。
It was called later come to be known as the teaching of
最后
leprosy
后来呢，
because it is through this teaching that many people get recovered.
观想的方法呢
Right.
也被称为
Even
治疗麻风病的
方
法。
Lanatham Doji Singh, not Lanatham Doji, yeah, Jagaba Ishidoji, this great master, he is one relative. One relative,
切格瓦大师
the relative also,
还有
you
一
know,
位
he does not like Dharma very much, you know, especially
亲戚呢
his
并不是
he
很
does not
热
like
衷于佛法，
to Jagaba.
而且呢，他也并不是很喜欢切格瓦大师。
Somehow, you know, because this teaching becomes so popular, you're right?
因
At
为
one point,
切格瓦大师的教法呢变得非常的流
even
行，
there's some, you know, transformation seems to take place in, you know, his own, you know, relative.
就
And Jagava thought, you know,
哪怕来
then
说
Master Jagava thought,
这样的这位亲戚对佛法没有信心的这位亲戚，
there is no point of, you know, there is no point of keeping this teaching
切克瓦大
secret.
师心想说呢，
There is
那
no
到
point
现到
for teaching
那
this
如果是这样子的话呢，
for keeping
那
this
就没有
teaching
必
a
要说
secret
把
practice.
这个修心的法门作为一个秘密的法门来修持。
If it really benefits
如果
others,
真的对于
even non-believer,
众生有利益的，
why not? If
Just
really
like
it can bring benefit to the
啊，佛法
large
信
people.
仰的这样的一些人都有
So
利益的话，
therefore, Master Jagava wrote 7
我
point
应该
mind
把它
training.
公开出来。因此呢，
Right.
他写下了修行七义论的内容。
Because beginning from Master Adisha up to
Yes,
Master
sir.
Jagava,
In way.
the teaching remains secret.
阿底峡尊者一直到切克瓦大师以来，这些教法的内容呢，都是秘密的传承的，并没有公
Because, you know,
开的讲授的。
Why it is secret is if you look at the
秘密的传
Master
承的
Shantideva's guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, he said,
祭天
Dada
道士
Shindu Jeshava Samatambhaja
我们
Vasa.
看祭
That
天
means
大入菩萨行论的内容
the，teaching of
上面强
exchanging
调
self and others
自他
should
相换
always,
的
should always practice as secret.
自他相换的这个内容呢，修行呢应该要秘密的修持。
Right. So although there are different, explanation of what here
虽然
secret
说
means,
不一样的解释说这一个颂
But
的
then-
内容，
because this teaching, giving and taking
但是因为
for the
取
beginner
舍
is
自
very
他相换
difficult,
取舍的这
they
个
don't
内容，
digest.
对于很多的初学的来说，或者初
So
闻佛法的
the
人来
beginner
说，
practice, they say
难
not
以接
practice
受的
this. Right.
他人来
It's
说
better
是
to begin from the
非常难以接
sevenfold
受。
cause and effect instruction.
因此呢，最好的方法呢，
Don't,
比较平
enter
稳的
directly
方法呢
from,
是从基
this
础经过
exchanging,
的方法
giving
开
and
始。
taking
因为
practice.
一开始上来的话，就修行自他
So this
相
is
换，很多人
only
是没有
for
办法
those
接
high
受的。
intelligent, high
这个方法呢
faculty
是给予那
person.
些上根的人来修行的。
Right. So this is how the teaching on 7 point mind training come into being.
这是我们修行七义的内容是如何传承下来的。
Right. This is also, a 7 point mind training also about, exchanging self and others. When we talk about
修行七义论的
exchanging
内
self
容
and others,
是它包含了
exchanging self and
自他
others,
相换的做法
equalizing self and others.
平等自他的方
We
法。
know there are, 3 lineage,
我
right?
们刚才
3
已经
lineage,
讲到过，
and
这
also
里面关于自他相换呢，我们有3个传承。
the first one is
第一个呢，
like Dharma
我
Rakshita.
们法护大师
He
的
wrote he wrote a wonderful text
两，
called Will of Shavwe
还
Point.
有2部
Will of
论著。
Shavwe Point.
那其中一部呢叫《修心见闻》，
Because it's like the self-cherishing and self-grasping.
因为为什么叫
That's
做
why it's
见
called
能呢？因为
Will
我
of
们
the
见
Shavwe
能
Points
会
and neutralizing the
砍
big cause
断
poison.
我们自我
That is
自我的
according to
执着，对于
Master
太
Dharma
性质的
Rakshita
执着。
as-
第二部呢叫做
as for
灭
the
毒孔雀，
Kusali lineage,
克毒孔雀。第二个呢
the Vaja of the melodies,
是我们
song.
三里传承，
This is the text,
是我们
and also when it comes to the Master Selingpa's,
是
lineage,
金刚
7 point
道
mind training is the lineage. Right.
那
Now,
第三个呢是我们的修心气意，
what really is
是
the
我们
difference
金
between
州
these
大
3
师
lineage?
的传承。
Right.
那
What
这
really
3
is
个
the
传承
difference
它
between
的
these
差
3
别是
lineage?
什么呢？
Right. So, one of the main, difference between these 3 lineage, is whereas in the Dharma Rakshita lineage and the Kusali lineage, right? In these 2 lineage,
在我们的古萨里以及
Right.
我们的
although
布达
same,
传承当中
the，practices, main
它
practices,
主要的修
exchanging
行
self and others,
是关于
exchanging
自
self and
他
others. This
相
is the
关的
main
内容，
practice.
这个是主要的。
But still, there exists a difference.
仍然呢
What's
有
the
不一样的
difference?
地方。那不一样的地方在哪里呢？
So the difference is in the lineage of the Dharma Rakshita
在法护
and
大
the
师、法护大师的
Kusali-
传承当中，
Kusali lineage.
以及我们的古萨里大师的传承当中，
before you go on to practice
在我们
exchanging self and
修
others,
行自他
you
相
need
换
to
之前，
train in
我们
you need to train in equalizing
修行平等、自
equalizing
他平等的方法。
self and others. Right. So this, whereas in the Master Selingpa lineage,
金州大
7 point mind
当
lineage,
中呢
7 point mind
修行
lineage
气的这个
or Master Selingpa's lineage, without equalizing without going through equalizing,
并没
training,
有强调说一开始
one
的时候
can begin
自他第
directly
一个
from
但
exchange
是
yourself
一
and
开
other
始呢
practice.
就修习自他相
Right.
化，
So this is the difference.
这是主要的一个区别。
So what is the time? No,
11:18
11:18?
Yeah.
I see. We have almost 1 hour still. So this is all about mind training practice, right?
这里呢是一个简单的介绍我们这个修行起义的传承。
When we talk about the mind training practice, it is very important that we
当我们谈论到
train
修
in
心的法门的时候呢，
sometimes, sometimes it becomes so important, so important to train in, step by step.
我们很重
Step
要
by
的是
step
呢
is
我们
very,
要
very
一步
important.
一步的来修持。
Because, for example, if you are a beginner, right?
因
Now,
为
if we are
如果我
beginner,
们是一个初学
now
者，
I am a beginner and I want to, practice on impermanent, for example, right? For example,
是一位
impermanent.
初学者，而我们想要修习无常的法门。
Here, I need to develop the experience in the impermanent, right? The recognition of impermanent.
那我们首先我们要去认知到无常，
Then you, from the impermanent, then you go up and up, step
然
by
后
step,
从无常呢，我们就开始一步一步的深入。
right? Or, you can be a beginner, right? Now, for
我
example,
们是一个初学者来
for
说，
example, you are a beginner and without, going through this,
如果没有
basic training,
没
training.
有呢一步步的走过这些基础的训练的话呢，
Yeah, I want to meditate on wisdom. I want to meditate on bodhicitta.
我想
Right
要
from the
修习
beginning,
一开
without
始
doing all this.
上来
Not
我
effective.
我要修习菩提心和空性见。
This is not how we train. This is
那
not
这样子
effective.
呢，并不是我们传统的这个方法。
So training by order,
我们需要一步一步的有次第的来修行。
right? I will quote one statement from Jizongabas, Stages of the Path to Enlightenment.
Let me find the book. Volume
Volume number 1.
21. Under which heading?
Page 99.
99. Which heading?
Huh?
The
Actually,
heading.
Just wait. How to sustain the meditation in general. How to sustain the meditation in general. Got it?
It's under the preliminaries.
Yeah, the preliminary. Actual session, right? Actual session.
Actual session. Okay.
Got it?
Okay, yeah. It's in the during the sitting or preliminary.
This how to sustain the meditation in general.
Let me see.
Got it?
I need to check.
Actual session.
What is what doing? What is
Yeah, preliminaries around the preliminaries.
Yeah, preliminary. Okay, actual meditation. Okay.
Got it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now here it is very, very important to note this, because sometimes, what really, what we really gain experience depends much on how we do the practice in the right context, in the right way,
那我
in
们
the right
我
order.
们修行能获得什么样子的觉受和
Sometimes
经
no
验
matter
往往这有时
how
候
we work very hard, still seem to things seem to be not, working
去修行的。
as
有
per
时候我们虽然很努
our
力
way.
的、很努力的去修行，但是
So
呢，
that
可能
means we do
没
not
有
know
很
how
好
to
的结
practice.
果。那是因为
Even though
因为
we are
我们
supposed to, we are
不知
supposed
道
to be
怎
doing
么样子去
practice,
修行。
but then not that
虽然
effective.
说我们
What
我们在
really
努力
lies,
地去行持，但是呢，我们真实的正量呢就没有升起。
So we will now come this, we will come.
因此呢，这里师傅
What
念
really
一
is
下
the
菩提道
problem
次第
for
广
that?
论里面的内容。那我念的这个呢是新译菩提道次第广论的白话文版。如果你有书的话呢，就是109页的道前基础总体的修法。
Now I will read, that which is known as meditation
所
is
谓的修
the act
就
of
是呢，
sustaining an object of
人之
meditation
内心屡
and
止的专注
specific
于善所缘，
subject aspects by repeatedly focusing your mind upon a virtuous object of meditation.
又做所修境或者所缘境。
The purpose of this is as follows.
其实修习
From beginningless time,
对象，
from beginningless time, you have been under the control of your mind.
因为我们从无始以
Your
来
mind has been under your control.
而不能操控自己。
Furthermore, your
Actually,
mind
我们的心
tended to be obscured
易
by
被
afflictions
障
and so
障
forth.
碍蒙蔽，
Thus, meditation aims to bring this mind,
产生
which give rise to all
对
force
修
and
的意思，
flows,
便是为了控
under
操
control
控自心，
and then it aims to make it
也就是
serviceable.
能按照自己的意愿，
Serviceability means that you can direct your mind as you wish towards a virtuous object of meditation. You understand, right? I think it's okay. Yeah, I don't explain. Yeah, this is easy to understand. Yeah, no, here. You might try to sustain your meditation by jumping to this and that object
我
of
们在
meditation,
修持
right?
不停的转换所缘，随
Sometimes
意
you are
修
doing,
行，
we are supposed to doing this meditation, and then a few hours we do another
而
meditation.
不按照一定的次序。我们有时候我们不停的在换我们的修的所缘境。我们
Right. Morning breakfast,
早餐，
break time, lunch,
然后
dinner.
休息一
You
下
put。all the food together, then try to eating from here.
我们就好像说，我们早餐、午餐、晚餐，所有的东西都摆在桌子上面，我们随便的点一个吃一下，这样子。
If you try to eat like this in one go, it won't work.
如果我们这样子来做的话呢，
So the same here,
我们就
shifting to very different kinds of objects. Sometimes you are supposed to be doing wisdom, sometimes impermanent, sometimes here and there.
我们
Everything
不停的
mixed.
在一会儿修智慧，一会儿
This is
修
not how it
一会儿
works.
修这个，一会儿修那个。
You might try to sustain your meditation by jumping to this and that
我
object
们
of
在修持
meditation.
不停的转换所缘，
You may consider setting up
随意修
according to
各
your
种
wish
善所缘
with
境，
a variety of objects of meditation
随意的
in no specific order.
而不按照一定的次序。
Even no specific order. You are doing as you like. Then, though you may do this, you will never
这
be.
样呢，
You will not be able to take up your object of meditation with this method. So you don't have you are not able to take any kind of object of
如果我们
object of
是这样子的话呢，
meditation.
我们就没有办法
If you try to do
真
this
正
kind
的
of
修习
meditation,
所缘禅定。
you will never achieve any kind of experience in meditation.
我们在禅修的时候呢，就不会获得任何的真实的经验。
Consequently, as a
最
result,
后呢，还
you will
大大
greatly
地
hinder your
障碍
mind's
内
ability
心
to be
如愿安
directed
住善所缘境的
as
能
you
力。
wish towards a virtuous object of meditation.
那这样
Your
会
main
障碍我
purpose
们的
is to
心，
achieve your goal
我
in
们想要
meditation,
修习
to gain
安
much
住
deeper
的好的
experience,
所缘境的这种
to。gain much deeper experience of the meditation. But as a result of
我们虽然说
having
想要
doing
获
this
得
kind of method,
成就，但是呢，我们
you
用我
will
们
not
这样的
come
做法
nowhere.
呢，我们
Nowhere
不
you
会
will
有任
arrive.
何的效果，而且呢，还会成为我们的障碍。
if you have made this a habit from the start,
我们一开
if
始
you
就
make this a
养成
habit
这种习惯，
right from the start, the
No.
virtuous practice your
我们
whole
一生的
lifetime
善
will
法
be
行
flawed.
持便会完全错误。
All the practice that you have worked for so hard for so long will be the problem, error. Just was saying, the virtuous or practice of your whole lifetime will be flawed, will be error. Right? You got it?
Yeah.
I see this. Yeah. Therefore,
所以
from the beginning,
首先，
therefore, just was conclusion. Therefore, from the
首
beginning,
先
firmly
必
determine
须
the
确定
definite
修习所缘的数
order
量次序。
definite order, you do step by step, step by step.
我们
You
的
can
数
go
量次
slowly.
序就是一
There's a
步一步的，
sequential order,
我们有一个
not
过程，有一个道，
not in the way you like.
而并不是我们随意的这样子。
From the beginning, firmly determine the order and enumeration of whatever objects of meditation you wish to sustain. Then strengthen your will by repeatedly thinking, I will
然后呢，
not
言语
set
的
up
思
something
维
that is
坚
different
决
from
的发
what
愿，
I have determined,
除了已决定的事情外，绝不修行
without
其他东西。
exceeding or falling short of what you have determined. Sustain your meditation
正念
with
正知
mindfulness and
继续
vigilance,
增多，
introspection.
也不减少，按照已决定的事情修习。
So, this is Chesamadas,
这是宗喀巴
He-
大师，
right? He tried to say, this is the problem. If you want to do the very good meditation,
他给我们的忠言和建议。
the problem that we may,
我们想要
arise,
有效果的禅修，
that we may come up with, is due to this problem. If you want to have a very, smooth meditation, follow this.
我们可能，如果我们想要有很有效果的，很顺利的禅修的经验，我们要听循他的教导。
Then follow the teachings and practice as per the order,
我
right?
们
Not
按
in
照道
disorder
的
way.
次第呢，一步一步的来修持。
That's why I quoted the master, Master Dumdama's statement.
因此，
My
为什
teacher
么
knows how
师
to
傅
practice
引用了
Buddha's
宗喀巴大
teaching
师的
in its
这句话？
entirety.
他说，我
He
的老
knows
师
really how to
阿底
practice
峡尊
Buddha's
者
teaching.
他知道如何来修习佛法，以完整的方法来修习佛
In
法。
such a way that he is able to carry
通过
on,
这样子来
he is able to
通过这样子的方法呢，
carry on
他可以
all the teachings of the Buddha, all the teachings of the Buddha into the four sides of the
他可以
spiritual
把
path.
佛陀的所有的教
Four
法
sides of the
完完
spiritual
全
path.
全的安住于道的四个方面。
Right? So, Jasangaba said this has really deep meaning.
宗喀巴大师
Definitely,
说
it has really
这
deep
是
meaning.
具有非常深广的意义的。
Right? Because Adisha is such a have such a great intelligence in how to put Buddha's teaching, how to practice Buddha's teaching.
阿底峡尊者呢，他具有非常深广的智慧，他知道如何来修习佛法。
If Adisha has not composed
如果阿底峡尊者没有
the lamp for the path to
提
enlighten,
到灯论，
if Jasangaba has not composed
如果
Lamrim,
宗喀巴大师他没有写菩提道次第，
if we were given the choice
我们 被
to
告知说
practice Hinayana,
Yeah, like
Mahayana,
Shanti,
Tantrayana
Sushi.
without contradiction,
我来修行，
it's
我
difficult
们
for
的
us.
根本称
It's pretty difficult for us. We don't know how to do it.
没有任何的深度的来修习这三部的教法，
So
我们往往常
Master
常不知道
Adisha
该怎么样去
practice
做。
it without conflict. Right?
因此，阿底峡尊者呢，他知道如何去修习，没有任何的冲
This is
突。
one thing. Right? So without any conflict, without any conflict.
没有任何
Hinayana
的前提下，
Vinaya stays on Vinaya.
根本正
Mahayana
的戒
stays
律
on altruistic mind, bodhicitta.
根
Tantrayana
本正的戒律达成的菩提心，以及密续的
like Didi Yoga and
密
many
续
other
的本真于
practices.
显以及其他的方便。
One is Hinayana,
我们在小
the
乘
path which is
根本乘，
non-attachment path.
我们把它称为没有任何的
Mahayana is extensive path.
道路，没有任何
Tantrayana
执
is
着
what
的
is sometimes
道。
called as attachment path, the path of attachment. So then there is a danger of finding conflict.
我
You
们
know,
的密乘呢，又被称为贪欲的道。
we stress in Vinaya, oh, they're talking about
是有冲突的，
attachment path is contradiction. You know,
这是有矛盾的，有冲突的。
without contradiction, without conflict.
阿底峡尊者他所教
The
的
kindness of
没有
the
任何的
Master
没有
Adisha.
任何的冲突。
Right. This is one way, right? You can practice, you know, the ethics or meditation
Oh,
and wisdom and tantra again without
持
contradiction.
戒、禅修以及智慧，以及密续的方法，没有任何的
Or, you know,
冲突。
Or the training of the small person, training the medium,
下士
training
道
of、the
中士道、
great, and the
上
training
士道
in the tantric path.
以
All
及
this
密
without.
续乘的心者，
Right. So this is another way. Four sides. I'm talking about four
这
sides.
对我们
Another way of
四
four
边
side is, you know,
四边呢？刚才我们讲到的这个四边，
four side is like this, you know.
另外一种解释呢，关于这个四边是什么呢？就
This
是
one, right? Four sides means now this is the, you know, cloth, right?
就比如说
Four side cloth.
一个
This
这
is
一
the
张
four
纸
side
它有
cloth.
四个边。
Four side cloth, right? Now, if I
你如果
pull from this side,
如果拎起
all
一边
this
的
side
话呢，
come
其他
together,
的
right?
三个边也会跟着一起被拎动。
Come together. So this is the four side. If you pull, all the three sides are the come.
我们
That
拎
means-
其中的一边，其他的三边呢也跟着一起动。
Damdaba is saying, my teacher know how to do this.
意思就是说我的老师阿底峡尊者
That
知道
means
如何
now, for example, in the you know Lamrim teaching, in the stages of the path
在我
text,
们的
in the
道次第的
path
内容
stages of
里
the
面，
path text, if you meditate on any single object,
如果我们
any you know kind of, for
任何
example,
一个
if you meditate
禅
on
修的对象
impermanent,
比如说无常，
in this
无常。
meditation on impermanent, you are able to bring all the spiritual path into
如
this
果
impermanent.
哪怕我们仅仅修行使无常，我们也一样的可以把所有的道都融入到这样的一个
You
修行
can
的对象当
you
中。
can you are able to do this. All the Buddha's teaching are taught in the form of meditation on impermanent.
所有佛的教导都可以以
When you try to meditate on
这个
impermanent,
方式而融入到我们的禅修。
when you try to meditate on the suffering,
当我们
you are able
视
to
为苦，
see all the Buddha's teaching
我们
as
可以
in the form of the meditation
佛法
on the
所有
suffering.
佛陀所有的教导都
Instruction.
融入到我们苦地的这个禅修的内容。
Right. So something like this, you know. When you move all things, when you do one visualization, all the spiritual part you can bring into, right? And also this is similar like dice, you know, dice. There's a dice, all these are dice.
就好像
You
我们
you
有
look from
骰
east
子一
direction
样的
is a four side. West direction is a four side. North direction is four side, right?
我
So
们
it's
从
a
任何一
foresight.
个角度来看，我们这个骰子
So
它
therefore,
都是四边。
whatever kind of visualization within the Lamrim
因此我们
spiritual
说，
path,
无论我们到这里
you
的
are
任
able
何
to
一
bring
个
all the
所缘
spiritual
的内
path
容，
into this,
我们
meditation
都能够
practice.
把所有的禅修的佛法融入到这样的一个对境当中。
Like now, for example, if I meditate on the
如果我们观修，
Buddha say, the illness has to be identified.
观修我们的极地，
The illness has to be identified, and the illness the illness has to be abandoned.
我们的病，我们要找到病的根源，而且呢，断除我们的病。
What it has to do, that means, now one need to reflect on the suffering, right? Suffering.
在这里，我们是在
For example,
极地和苦地。
Now we are thinking about the suffering of the, samsara, right? For example, right? We are thinking about, so this kind of specific statement talks about suffering on samsara. Right? We are talking about the suffering of the samsara.
是关于轮回的苦。
When we think about the suffering of the samsara, reflect on the suffering of the samsara,
轮回的苦。
right? Then, as a result of reflection,
轮回的苦的时候，
as a result of reflection,
我们的思维，
who is suffering? I'm suffering.
我们的思维谁在受苦？
If you are suffering, is there a method to get out or not?
我在受苦的话，
Get out or not? Is there a method to free from that
有
suffering
一
or
个
not?
道或者方法，
Then we come to realize,
说出来呢？
No.
我们这样去思维，
I'm suffering. Yeah,
首
I'm
先
suffering.
啊，我在受。
Where does this suffering come from?
我们然后我就问说，哦，苦来源于什么？
This suffering come from? For example, like negative karma.
来
Where
源于
does
我
this
们的
negative
业，
karma come from?
还有
This
我们
negative
的
karma
业，
comes from delusion.
然后我们的恶业来
Where
源于
does
烦
this
恼，
delusion comes from?
烦恼
Finally,
来
it
源
is
于哪里？
ignorance,
来源于我们的无明，
confusion, ignorance, right?
我们无明不了
Therefore,
知。
now meditation on the suffering finally led you to
我们可以看到
led
说，
you
当我们在思维苦地的时候，
to the recognition of the
引
root of the suffering,
它引领我
which
们
is
认
ignorance.
知到了我们
Now,
苦的根源，也就是
now
我们
again, the
无明
question is,
错乱的了知。
I'm being suffering. I'm suffering by ignorance.
然后我们思维说，啊，我因为无明而受苦。
What is the nature of the ignorance?
那
And
无明的
if
体性
are
是
there
什么？
any antidote?
那
Will
有
it come
任
to
何对
end
治我
if
们
I
的方
apply
法？
antidote? So this
如
question,
果
a
我
lot
使
of
用
questions come.
我施加，它
Then
对
as
治
a
的
result,
方法，我能够
finally,
中解脱出来
we
吗？
come to understand, yeah, the
因为
ignorance,
这样子的
which
去
the root,
寻找，
which is
我
the
们可以
root of
认
all
知到
our,
说，是
suffering.
的，无
can
明
be-
是我们
can
轮
be
回的
removed.
苦根，确实是可以被
So
去
that
除。
removal of the ignorance can be done only by the cultivation of the wisdom.
而
So
对于
it,
无明的这个
we,
驱除，可以
we really,
通过
aspire
智慧，
to achieve the wisdom or cultivate the
因此
wisdom.
我们内心升起了对于智慧的需求。
So if I cultivate wisdom, what will happen?
如
If
果
I
我们升
cultivate
起
the
了智
wisdom,
慧，
then
那会怎么
finally
样子？
I will be able to bring an end to the suffering that I do not desire.
因为我们升起了智
So
慧
then-
了之后呢，我们就会
With the cultivation of wisdom, you are finally able to achieve the cessation. Now this is the fourth,
我们会得
the
到
cessation quality.
得到我们的灭地，灭除了一切的烦恼。
So all these are four noble
是我
truths,
们灭地的功德。
one after the another,
那这样
right?
子，我们是圣地的
One
功
after the
德，
another. It lists one after the another.
一步的都这样
So in a way, you are able to, even in one meditation, you are able to bring many of
虽
the,
然说仅仅是一个苦地的修行，但是我们能够把所有的道的这方面
So this is what is
让
meant
它融
by
合在一起。
to able to, to bring all the four sides. We are doing
从我
practice,
们大
but
师
we
所讲的，
need to, break
所
in
有
it
的
from
说法
the
融
very
入到
steps.
诗篇当中，关于这样的一个内容的解释。
And especially, as we say, reliance on the, for example, reliance on the teacher like this. This is the fundamental of the path. And
我
then
们讲到说，一直上是
afterwards is the
修行的根源。
meditation on the
然后呢，
recognizing.
我们
Now, for example,
认知，
if we were to meditate on the preciousness of the human rebirth, right?
如果我们要修习
In the
暇满难
text,
得，
there are three paths. In the
在我
text,
们的
there are three paths.
道
One
这里
has
面有
to
讲到，
one has to follow according to the path. What is presented as per the order.
我们
Now, the
建议
first
说
is, for example, right,
这个上面的次序，
identifying
首先
identifying
我
the
们要
8 leisures and 10 endowments.
了知
First, you
认
need
知
to identify,
8种有暇和10种
Then-
圆满，
thinking about the
然后我们来思维，
then thinking about the the purposefulness of having obtained this birth. Precious
然后我们要来思维获得这样想满
Then
的
comes
目
the
的
the
以及
difficulty.
意义。然后我们来思维
How
说，
difficult it is to obtain the
I see why.
this human
获
rebirth
得这样发有暇是圆满的人生的
accorded with 8 lashes and 10 endowments. So even
Well,
within
yeah,
this,
the bio
you
science,
need to
yeah, man.
do it other way, not not
我
as
们
to your liking. You want to do this earlier
我们
and
可以
then
按
later
照这样子的
not
顺
way.
序和自
Have
己
to
来修
follow
行，
to the
而不
according
是
to the
随意
spiritual
的
path.
随自己所喜
I
好
will-
的，然后呢
The order one need to follow
没有
order.
任何的次序的来修行。
Right. So if you follow the order, then if we get the desired result, right? Something like this. So so this is as a first step, as a first step is what, reliance on the teacher, and then there comes the,
比如道次第上所讲的，一开始依止上师，
the preciousness of having obtained the
然后我们思维有
the
暇，
purposefulness of having obtained the precious human rebirth.
Bio
Here
science,
when I talk about the human, not just human rebirth, but human rebirth, which is
他们
supported
时候并不只
with
仅是人
8
生，
lashes
而
and
是
10
说
endowments.
具足发有暇和十
8
圆满
lashes
的
and
人
10
生。
endowments, right? This and then this kind of meditation on the 8 lashes, the purposefulness and the difficulty in obtaining the precious human rebirth is such that it motivates you to do the practice. It motivates you to do something. It motivates you to meditate on the impermanent nature of life. So like this, again, if you meditate on the impermanent nature, what happens? Then here, meditation on the suffering of the 3 lower limbs come.
然后呢
Based on that,
我们来参修
right? Then
下山
your
六
wish
道的
to desire to,
首先，
meditate on the law of cause and effect come.
然后呢，我们来参修业果，
This brings you to another meditation, which is what is called as now meditation on the the suffering of the samsara comes. This brings you to another kind of meditation,
参修
which then
轮回苦，
how do we circle in samsara
以及
through the power of the karma and affliction,
然后我们参修
and especially the craving, what is known as craving, how we circle in samsara.
如何是在
This
轮回
brings you
当
to
中
the another
流
meditation,
转的，
which then really motivates us to
然
get
后
out from the
令我们升起出离心。
not only the suffering of samsara, but
我们不仅仅要
sincerely wish to achieve the highest form of enlightenment.
我们不仅仅要
So it's
不仅仅要从
step by step, one
恶的中解
meditation
脱，
led
要从
to.
轮回中解脱，而且
You don't have
最
to
上的流
make the effort.
如
The
果我们
meditation itself
Yeah.
led
我们只要按照这样的次序去修辞，
meditation
我们内心的
led you to
真的
prepare
是
everything here. You don't have to make effort. They will tell the
不需
meditation
要
itself.
不需要任何
Meditation
的
itself
努力，
will
我们只要
let
按照这样子的次
the
序去做，
meditation one
内心
after
就
the
会
another.
升起这些方面的正悟。
Right. So this is, I think, the right way of doing meditation, the right way of engaging in the spiritual path, because very important, very very important. So then, now we begin with this 7th point. I gave some little bit background of the mind training. Right. Now, training the mind in 7 points.
现在呢，我们来开始进入到我们这个修行起义的内容。
Maybe 12th, 11th or 12th century.
这个修行起义根本颂是大概在11到12世纪的时候所写的。
Now then, some of you may, I think have heard about 7-point mind training,
有些人可能已经听说过
right?
修行起义的内容。
Because, and then sometimes you may wonder, oh, this 7-point mind training is different here, different from another.
有时候你可能会想说，
How come?
这
Oh,
里
there
的
are
修行
different
起义
kinds of
和另外一个
7-point
地方
mind
的
training.
修行起义好像不一样。
One maybe mistake.
那到底哪一个是正确的，哪一个是不正确的？
We may wonder, right? So there comes the different versions of 7-point
修行
training.
起义的
Even
这个
7-point training, there comes a very
它确实
different
是有
versions.
不一样的这样的一个版本。
Now, we may wonder which is the correct and which is not the
可
correct.
能会说哪一个是正确的，哪一个
I would say all are correct,
我们说他们所有的都是正确的。
right? Now, here the difference is,
不一样的地方在于，
first of all, how there comes the different version.
首先我们
Within
为
this
什么
even 7-point
这
mind
样的
training,
修行
how
期呢？它会有不一样的版本。
right? So that is again has to do with some lineage system,
是因为我们不一样的这个传承上有稍微的不同。
right? Now, let me say here,
比如说，如果我们看的是英文版，
in the actual 7-point mind training,
在我们真正的
in the actual 7-point mind training,
呢，
by Chagawa, and also his disciple
以及他的弟子
by the name of Chilbua, Se Chilbua.
名字呢叫塞奇波
In the Se Chilbua, he also wrote a commentary to 7-point
还
mind
写
training.
了一个注解书。
Right. He also wrote a commentary. Now here, if you read, right, homage to great compassion, this essence of natural like instruction is transmitted from Salimpa.
敬颂文念中
It is like a
甘
diamond,
藏教授
like the
金
sun,
州传
and
人
like a medicinal
金
tree.
教义如金
The
刚
medicine, the meaning of this text should be known.
转为菩提
The
道。
development of the 5 impurities will be transformed into the path to enlightenment. Up to here, from here to homage to the great compassion,
那这里来说，
You know,
我们
to up to
敬礼
here
大悲
will be transformed
知道转为菩提
into
道。
the path of enlightenment. Up to here,
这个部分的内容，
in this text, I selected this.
在我
I
们
arranged this. I arranged this 7-point mind training.
那师傅呢，他安排的，他有edit 了一下这个英文的内容。
In the actual, 7-point mind training, from here to here is under the part of the advice of the mind training instruction. But here it is placed on the top.
那在真正的这个修行期的内容呢，这个部分的内容是在后面，在给予这个建议的这个部分的内容，那在我们这个 text 里面呢，在前面，这也和我们中文版的是相符的。
Right here, this is these verses are instinct in the actual mind training, 7-point mind training. This comes under the below, but here is the top. Why? It's
为什么会把这一段的内容放在前面？
because we need to have the authenticity of the lineage
因为
and the authenticity of the
学习
teaching.
一个教
So
导
therefore,
我们
it is
首先要了
placed
解
first.
这个传承的亲近性以及它的根源。
In the actual 7-point mind training, it begins right from here.
真正的这个修行
First learn the preliminaries. It begins from
是
this.
从
First learn the
开始
preliminaries.
的，
Right.
初学诸家行，从这个地方开始的。
So this come in the first. Now who put this? Who placed this?
那谁
We
把
may get
这
the
样
idea.
的一个
Who placed?
放在最前面的呢？
Right. And also homage to great compassion. This one was, it looked,
还有我们最开始的这一句敬礼于大悲。
usually this 7-point mind training, we need to understand, and understand one thing. there are two lineage. Again, two lineage. These two lineage are what is called as southern lineage and eastern lineage.
我们这个修行期呢，也
This
有
7.9
一个
training.
是我们南部
I'm
的
not talking
西
about
藏的
7.9
南部的
training.
北部的
There are two lineage. One is southern lineage and another is eastern lineage.
南部和东部的传承。
What makes the difference between southern lineage and eastern
所谓的
lineage?
南部和东部的这个传承，它的区
The
别又在
difference
哪里
between
呢？
the southern lineage and eastern lineage is such that now this mind training transmitted one person after another, right?
这是一代一代
Keep
的
on,
传承下来
keep
的。
on transmitting from the person to person, right? So it finally comes to whom? It finally comes to the great master Bodhisattva Thomas Sambo,
从他
Muji
传教我
Thomas
们
Sambo,
伟大
who
的
is
大
the
师，
author of the
是一个大
37
菩萨
Bodhisattva
圣内上
practices.
波。
Author of the 37 Bodhisattva
他
practices.
他写了我们所很大家都听说过的佛子行37颂。
So from Muji Thomas Sambo, I think he, look, it seems, he put great homage to great compassion.
从他开始，我就古梅桑博他加了这一句敬礼大悲。
So Muji Thomas Sambo and, up to Muji Thomas Sambo got. So
在
this
古梅
great
桑博之
master,
后呢，
Muji Thomas Sambo, wrote the commentary to the 7.9 training.
那我就古梅桑博他写了这样的一个修行起义的。
Muji Thomas Sambo wrote a wonderful commentary on the 7.9 training.
What is the name of the commentary?
Commentary, there's a,
It's a sunlight commentary.
not sunlight, there's a specific commentary. Right now I don't remember right now. Yeah.
现在师傅一下子记不起来他的。
There's one commentary, right?
Hmm.
So on this commentary, Sanbaman commentary, the commentary that Muji Thomas Sambo wrote, right, to the 7.9 training commentary. So he explained, he follows the rule,
注解里面，
he follows the rule according, as per the root text,
他是
in
按
an
照
order way, in an order way.
他是按照这个切格瓦大师的原文的这个内容次序。
He explained the
来解释
verses as, according to the, sequential order of the root text, right? So many of the letter commentaries, many letter commentaries on 7.1 training, some based on his,
那
Master Thomas
很多
Sambo's
后来的
text.
这些修行起义的这些注解的这些内容呢，大师的内容呢，都是有很多是按照
So many of the, the lineages and traditions
作者的这位大师
based on that
他的传承
commentary
来
composed by Thomas Sambo, Master Thomas Sambo, is what is called as southern lineage,
因此呢，他的传承呢就被称为南部的传承。
right? Southern lineage. Now here, but then from the, Muji Thomas Sambo,
从
the teaching,
那上
transmitted until if we talk about the, Gelug tradition,
让我们
now comes to the Master Tsongkhapa.
从宗喀巴大师开始。
Now, when we talk about the eastern lineage now, right? Now, who follows the southern lineage? Right? First of all, southern follows like Muji Thomas Sambo, Master Thomas
我
Sambo,
去通门上过呢。
yeah, and also the Shuni Gyaltsok. Shuni Gyaltsok.
去念给丘，
Shuni Gyaltsok is also the one of the really Bodhisattva.
他也是一位非常了不起的菩萨。
He edited, he compiled all the mind training practices, many, not all, almost many of the mind
他
training
把很
practices,
多的这个
in
修
one
行法
text,
门的内容
one booklet,
集为一
Shuni
个
Gyaltsok.
一个集
So
组。
Shunu Gyaltsok also follow, according to the root test, which is explained
他们呢
as
都
per
是
the,
按照这个
in the sequential order.
切克瓦大师的原文的这个内容的顺序来讲的。
Then we have Eastern lineage.
我们有
Now, who
东部
follows
的
the
传
Eastern lineage?
东部的传承是谁呢？
Right. So Eastern lineage, now again, same follows, one Kadamba master,
我们感
Kadamba
到派的
master
大师
continue and continue, and finally come to the Muji Thome Sambo, right?
好，
Muji Thome Sambo, and then also later, it comes to also spread in the Giluk tradition, right?
知道我们格鲁派的传承，
And then finally it comes to the from Sajja master to Jetsongkhapa, right?
那也从萨迦派大师呢到宗喀巴大师，
So Jetsongkhapa gave the mind training instruction, and especially to the many, gathering, huge gathering, and especially to the Horden Namkepe.
宗喀巴大师呢
Right. Then now
在很多大的场
Horden
合里面
Namkepe,
给予过
and this
修行
Horden
场地
Namkepe then
教
wrote
授
the text, mind training like the rays of the sun.
给予我们的这位大师叫做虎顿虚空想
Horden, yeah.
虎顿虚空想尊者，他写了修行的
Almost the mind training like the rays of the sun. So then from Horden Namkepe, he transmitted this to the lineage of the first Dalai Lama, who is the Gendudru.
从虎顿能给北日我们
Give the
的
teaching,
虚空想尊者给予了我们第一世达赖喇嘛。
Right. Gendudru. So from Jetsongkhapa, the presentation of the 7-point mind training is not as per, or is not presented as per the root text.
从宗喀巴大师开始，这个修行期的这个内
Because
容，
some need to be put here and some need to be put
按
later.
照原文的内容来讲的，
That is not
调整的。
presented as per the order of the root text. Right. That means from Jetsongkhapa,
从宗喀
from
巴大师开
Jetsongkhapa,
始，
the 7-point mind training is slightly, but the essence is there.
宗喀巴
But
大师
slightly,
内容
some
顺序
need
呢
to be put
稍微做了一下调
above,
整，
need to be put below, like.
但是它的核心的内容是一样的。
So some modification in terms of placing here and there is there, but the essence is there. Essence there.
它的顺序呢可能稍微有点调整，但是核心的内容呢是一样的。
So therefore, this is done from Jetsongkhapa,
从宗喀巴大
then
师开
Horden
始，
Namkepe
后
make
然后
the
呢，
commentary,
讨
right?
论虚空强尊者的修行日光论。
Here, right? So all this put here, and when it comes to training the bodhicitta, right?
前面这个颂词我们讲的放在前面。
So this is something unique. First learn the preliminaries. Again, within that we will discuss later. We will find unique, many
在后
unique
面
things.
我们会讲
And
到
also
这些我们格鲁派的特别的地方。
training in bodhicitta, right? Training in two bodhicittas.
第二义的两种
When
菩提性的修法，
When we talk about training in two
就
bodhicittas,
是重过
in the
慧
root
心
text, in the actual root text,
在
ultimate bodhicitta is done first,
在原文里面呢
and
讲到的
conventional bodhicitta is done later.
圣义菩提心是
But
先讲的，
here,
而我们
as per the
世俗
Horden
菩提心的
Namkepe instruction, Horden Namkepe's lineage
而
order,
我们在我们格鲁派的这个传承，
conventionally is done first
我们
rather than
世
the
俗菩提
ultimate.
心是先讲的，而圣义
So
菩提心
this like,
最后才讲，
something like this comes a
这
different,
样一些稍微的调整。
right? So this is all about the, difference.
I think it's 12 o'clock.
Huh?
12 o'clock now.
12?
Yeah. Maybe it's a good introduction first to class. We can continue.
12, yeah, only 1 minute ago. Yeah, I try to finish, all the introduction.
Okay.
In 3 or 4 minutes. Take okay.
那师傅说呢，在拖延大概3-4分钟呢，把今天的这个介绍，今天这个 introduction 呢，给大家讲完。
So yeah, we called Eastern lineage and
所以我们讲到有
Southern
东
lineage.
方的传承和南方的传承。
But the essence, the very essence of the teaching remains all the same,
是一样的，
Just you put some place words up there and then
只
write
是说
down there.
它的这个顺序呢稍微有调整。
So therefore, we follow this, for example, like this, according to the Eastern lineage.
因此呢，我们是
We
按照
follow
东部的传承，
according to
东方
the
的
Eastern
传
lineage
承。
rather than Southern lineage. Because we are the beginner, right?
因为我们
Just right from the beginning, we try to meditate on emptiness.
我们出去的，我们一开始一上来，我们就开始修习
if you don't have correct understanding, we may,
因为
fall into the extreme of nihilism.
如果我们没有正确的理解，
So just among us, main purpose is that as we as a beginner need to train
断见的
right from the conventional bodhisattva first.
断见，
Conventional bodhisattva first. So say conventional bodhisattva is done
就这
here,
样
right? Like this.
胜利菩提心。
And then, but yeah, this, yeah, we will, yeah, for the, yeah, about the preliminaries, yeah, we will slowly do, yeah.
然后呢，
I think I have
详细
to,
的内容，
yeah, I think I haven't left anything for the introduction, yeah, introduction.
今天的我们这个介绍呢，应该 introduction 的部分呢，应该讲的比较。
And then there are many wonderful, many wonderful, commentaries on this 7-point mind training.
好的一个注解书，我也给大家分享了。
So if you are also interested in, reading some mind training texts like The Wheel of Sha Weapons, also available in English,
另外有两本书，
and
就是我
Vajra-
们师傅有提到的这个
Melodious Vajra song available, Neutralizing Peacock's Feet
春天出
Poison
版社
available.
叫刻毒孔雀，这里面呢关于修心见轮和灭毒孔雀两个部分的内容都有，英文的也有。
So many of the, lineage masters that we trace, all many are true, wonderful and amazing practitioners. Some really bodhisattvas too, in the lineage masters. Right?
The will of sharp weapons.
The Wheel of Sha Weapons, yeah.
I think I have English and
I
Chinese.
see. So, so now here,
这法护大师
when we talk about the 7-point mind
真
training,
正的尊者
when we talk about the 7-point mind training, this 7-point mind training is what is called as, the lineage of the extensive path.
我们讲到的这个修心记忆的这个传承呢，是在我们菩提道次第里面，我们把它称为广行派的这个传承。
When we talk about the, this equalizing and exchanging self by others,
自他
this
平等的这
this
个
particular lineage is what is called as the lineage of the great path.
the great depth of path, right? The Manjushri path.
Not Manjushri, There are 3 paths, right?
嗯
Actually, there you can also call blessed path, there. But when you talk about the lamim, this the stages of the path, there comes 3 different paths. One is the
当我们谈论到
the lineage of the extensive path, the great path,
菩提
and
道
the
次第的
profound
时候
path.
我们有
Profound
3
path
个，
refers to the lineage of the teaching of the emptiness.
我们有
Right?
广
One
行
is the
派，
great path.
还有一个伟大派，中文我也不知道怎么翻译。
But how it is called great path, we will discuss later.
为什么我们会称为 great
It's a-
path 呢？
Yeah, equalizing and extensive
我们
others
会来
called
讲到，那这个自他平等的这个内容呢，
the lineage of the
来源
great
于
path.
这个 great path。
Right. So this is all we need to, this background we need to understand, then, it's very good later on when we move further in explaining. I think it's up to here if people have some question.
大家有什么问题可以提出来。今天我们就讲到这里。Albert， 你们在Zoom 上有什么问题吗？您可以提出来。
Jim， 没有，谢谢。
OK， 没有问题。Thank you. No problem. No questions. OK， 那谢谢大家。下一次课我们继续。
Thank you, Venerable.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Thank you.
谢谢师父，谢谢 Jam。
OK，Thank you. Bye bye.
拜拜。
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And you,
Thank
you're welcome.
you.